Hi, Louie. Welcome to Singapore.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So let's get into it. So first thing is, can you share the motivation behind the biodiversity offset program and how it aligns with the vision for environmental stewardship in the Philippines?
At San Miguel Aerocity Incorporated, the biodiversity offset program, it's a crucial part of our approach in responsible development. The program shows our commitment to ensuring that large-scale infrastructure programs actually meet with environmental preservation and conservation. So, and that's I think our biggest motivation. First is balancing development with environmental preservation. We recognize the fact that this New Manila International Airport has this massive impacts to the environment, and we want to make it sure that we do it the right way. So we want to make sure, especially the critical habitats and the natural habitats in the program, that they are really mitigated, if not offsetted, so that we can have a more sustainable program. And that I think is our greatest motivation, balancing the large-scale infrastructure development with environmental preservation. We understand and we recognize the massive undertaking and the massive impacts with this undertaking. And we want to make it sure that any natural habitat and critical habitat are mitigated. Another motivation is safeguarding key biodiversity area and biodiversity hotspots area. The project where the airport development is being constructed, unfortunately, is a key biodiversity area and an important bird area for this migratory bird species. And we want to make sure that this offset program we created, will not only survive but thrive. And another approach, and I think the most important approach that we're doing, is really understanding and recognizing that environmental stewardship goes hand in hand with community partnership and community recognition. The third motivation that we have is really recognizing that environmental stewardship goes hand in hand with community participation. Our offset program includes livelihood component, and we wanted to ensure that we have buy-in from the community, because later on, the long-term plan is for them to manage the area and to have this kind of mindset and involvement that this community will have for conservation efforts. So that's basically our motivation. We want to be the model for building green infrastructures, a more resilient infrastructure, while also respecting the environment.
So specifically, how do you manage to incorporate some of the steward leadership principles into the strategy of the initiative?
We think that steward leadership is taking accountability for both present and future impact.
Okay.
We at San Miguel Aerocity Incorporated, we're taking full responsibility of our impacts. We want to again make sure that doing this large-scale infrastructure project will not harm the environment and the people. So we have this 3-in-1 approach that we actually coined for the program. So we just don't provide feeding habitat for these migratory birds, but we also provide livelihoods for the people. Again, the long-term plan is for these people to really manage the areas and take ownership. So it is very important that from the start of the process, they are there, they're with us, and trying to understand what we're doing and having ownership for this program. And the only way for them to accept the program is, of course, if they benefit from it. So it's not just about providing feeding habitat, but also livelihood for the people affected by the project. And 3-in-1, the other one is safety. The areas where we're working at, they're low-lying areas. So most of the times they're flooded. Even simple storm surges, they're flooded. If there's there's no rains, they're flooded. So we want to reduce or mitigate the risk of flooding using nature-based solutions that we employed for the creation of feeding habitat. and incorporating mangrove restoration in the program. So yeah, we hope to mitigate the risk for flooding in the areas that we're working with.
Very nice. I can see the focus on the interdependence and the long-term mentality very clearly as well. Great, that's great. What approaches do you use to balance the development of the major infrastructure projects with the commitment to preserving and enhancing crucial habitats, particularly for the migratory birds?
That's a good question, actually, because especially the offset program, that's the first time that we're doing in the country. So, like, in all we do, the construction, the development of the airport, the New Manila International Airport, and at the same time, the biodiversity offset programs, we are following adaptive management approach.
Nice.
So, basically, we scheduled carefully our land development in a way that we avoided the migratory peak season. So making it sure that we have minimal impact to the migratory birds. So we have this traffic light system.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like red, yellow, and green. So red, we halted operation or our construction works when we see that there are like wildlife around, especially the 14 critical habitat qualifying species. And then yellow, when our wildlife rescuers, so we engage also like wildlife rescuers. So when they see that there are wildlife around, so we kind of like slow down, and then we only like go at full blast with our construction when these birds are not around. So that's like one of the approaches. It's really adaptive management approach. And another thing, really, one of the approach that we're doing is really incorporating livelihood component into the program. Again, I keep on like repeating the essence of the importance of having acceptance from the community, having that sense of ownership for the program, because eventually it's for them. And we have tried doing oyster farming in our offset areas. We have mud crab production, so we have like shrimp. So basically, we are all like doing this for the people. Not just not just giving them or the birds like an area where they can feed and roost, but then an area where also like people can benefit. In fact, there's this very inspiring story that we heard from the community. They said before that they used to eat these birds. So they used to eat these birds, and then because people will understand. You will understand people that they will of course prioritize their stomach more than whatever works for the birds, right? So they said like before they eat these birds, they catch and then eat this. And then when we started bringing awareness to them, the importance that this migratory birds is playing in the ecosystem, and then now that they are benefiting also from the works that they're doing for the birds, so they stop eating these birds. So which is I think one of the, I would say that the positive impact that this project brings not only to us but also to the community, understanding the interconnectedness of everything, these birds and the people. So that's why our tagline in our biodiversity offset program, that this program supports people and the wildlife.
Nice. It's really great. I like the fact that it covers both and addresses both the environmental and social sustainability part. So my question is was that something that you thought of or you were thinking about from the beginning, or was the focus on the environmental part first and then you sort of incorporated and did the social part as well? How did that work out?
We in San Miguel, so we have this core value of malasakit. So there's no direct translation of the word malasakit, but it only means deep care to the people and the environment. So that's actually our drive in everything that we do in San Miguel. So our commitment is really rooted from that. We do it to serve people, to protect the environment, for nation building. That's how we work in San Miguel. That's how we live. That's how we do project in San Miguel. We really want to strive a balance between economic growth, the progress, and then of course striking balance with environmental preservation and social equity.
So it's part of your corporate DNA.
Yeah,
so that's nice. That's great.
That's how we work.
Okay. I guess the other thing is measuring. The measurement always comes in biodiversity is quite complex. What metrics did you guys use in managing the project, or even at this point keeping pace the project? What metrics did you all refer to in terms of the measurement part?
Like what I said, this is the first in the country. We don't know anything about birds. Even me myself, like I couldn't even like name a bird before. So yeah, so that's so funny. But then
Yeah.
yeah, we engage a lot of international consultants.
Okay.
We engage local knowledge. So basically, we are using this UK DEFRA method, Department for Environment and Food and Rural Affairs.
Okay, okay.
So
Definitely.
both in computing our residual impact, the residual
Right.
impact of the project, and then at the same time the net gain that we are trying to achieve. But we can like tweak it in a Filipino way because we understand the ecological conditions in the Philippines is different from the UK.
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So we made tweak of the condition matrix. So we have this workshop with international experts and local experts, and really trying to tailor fit the conditions in the Philippines.
Right.
Without, I would say, without sacrificing like the requirement of this habitat and of course this like bird species. So it's really like new in the country, and one of our really hopes is for us also to develop a metrics for the Philippines that somehow like any biodiversity initiatives in the country will be following these metrics that hopefully we can contribute to the Philippines.
Nice, nice. Was there for you maybe any one particular metrics that you want to share about, or you feel really happy and you wanted to celebrate?
For now, we're like working from that. We reviewed a lot of metrics. I believe Singapore also has one. I saw on Reddit, but again, it follows the same principles, basic principles in biodiversity conservation. So the challenging really, it's really more on the habitat, distinctiveness, and conditions. So it's really making it really like very Philippine setting because our ecological conditions, our environmental conditions, it's totally like different from the rest of the world. So yeah, the condition matrix, aligning it to the requirement, the local requirement, that I think is like what we have for now, and then again hopefully we could have our own standard and metrics for the Philippines.
Was there any particular project globally or somewhere else that was anywhere close that you guys found inspiration from at all for this?
UK and Australia, they're kind of somehow
they have-
advanced to it, right? But we chose like which one is somehow like closer to the Philippine setting,
Right.
because some of the metrics is kind of like not practical for us.
Right.
Like there are those metrics that suggest that we're gonna be doing 10,000 hectares of offset, and we couldn't even like find 10,000 hectares in the Philippines. I mean, in North Manila Bay particularly. So the DEFRA UK DEFRA method, that's somehow close to like the conditions in the Philippines. So that's why we chose that one.
Can you describe a particular ethical challenge you may have faced in this offset program and everything that that took place?
From the start, it's always I would say that the biggest ethical challenge that we faced is really like the developing this remaining habitats for migratory birds. So in North Manila Bay, there are only 9 remaining intertidal mudflats.
Okay.
So these are crucial for these migratory water birds. So unfortunately, like 4 of which they are located within the project area.
Oh, okay.
So I would say that it's really the biggest challenge, developing those areas. And that's always been the reason why most of the NGOs, especially like the NGOs, they don't support us in the project because they thought that the impacts is irreversible and it's really like massive. So we have done so much stakeholder engagements. We have done a lot of studies, and we usually share these studies to the stakeholders, and they barely like listen to us. And I would understand them because this is like first time happening in the country. We wouldn't know, like when we were starting, whether this works or not. The impact is massive. So there's a lot of uncertainties. But again, going back to our core value of malasakit, so we really have this principle and value that, we want to do this for the people, we want to do this for the environment. We want to contribute to nation building. So that drives us even we receive a lot of, I would say that not so good comments from our stakeholders. Even if we tried many times to like approach them and seek help, because yeah, we recognize from the start that we need help to do this. We cannot do it alone, especially it's new in the country. There's no expertise in the country, and these NGOs, these groups, they have this expertise that we can tap on. But unfortunately, yeah, they don't wanna work with us that time. But maybe now that we have done this, we are now we have established 400 hectares of this intertidal mudflat. So now we can really like demonstrate that we can do it, that it's really feasible to do it in the country, that you can create habitat for these migratory birds. So some of them, they started to change their perception about the project, and then started to work with us now. And I'm very I'm very, I think if I given the chance to also like bring this message also to other like stakeholders to really like work with us, this is a big project. Even like in the entire world, nothing or nobody has done this much offset project or program in the entire world. So, and we recognize that we really need help. So now that we were able to do it, we have this drive to do it. So let's do it. Let's do it together.
That's great. So you're saying that originally there was some pushback from the NGOs, but as you started going, trying to show them results and all of that, eventually they came on board in terms of you being able to influence and show them what actually you guys have done. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what happened in the past. Because again, I understood them because the massive impact of the project, it's irreversible. And again, there's a lot of uncertainties whether it will work or not. This offset program, this offset creation, this mudflat creation will work or not, because it's even like in the other countries, they have not done it that much. There are a lot of like coastal restoration projects, but it's not really for migratory birds. So because you need to understand the sediment, like the muds, what's in the muds, like what macroinvertebrates, what are there for these birds to like feed on. So there's a lot of studies, and then although they're not so supportive from the start, now most of them we have them on board with us, and it's really like a good thing, because I think like what I said, it's a collaborative effort. It's not our effort, and I think it's very encouraging for a company like San Miguel to really like invest on this one, because it's not also a small investment. This is like big investment. And yeah, because we are really like true to our commitment of being a responsible developer. We want really our airport project to be a model for a more green and resilient infrastructure. So yeah, we're really like investing on this so much.
Nice. So based on the lessons you learned from the experience up till now, and I know it's 2024 and the project's supposed to be complete in 2028, if you were to review, what would you have done, now that you would have done differently with whatever lessons you've learned?
This is like the story. Maybe like just to give context, when we started, we really heavily relied to international experts. And me, myself, although I have PhD in environmental engineering, it's not my thing.
Okay.
I think what I have that time, and up until now, is just really like the drive to do good things.
Right.
And I'm really like inspired with how we works in San Miguel. Again, our core value of malasakit, that's really like big thing to me, because I felt like I shared the same values. So, when all of these international consultants and these experts, for sure they will have like different ideas. They have like different opinions. So we're now like on our third year, but the first 2 years it was really like debating, are we gonna do this or not? So, and then that time I was like, again, because it's not my thing, I also need to learn. So I just like listened to them, and then until one time that we realized as an organization that this is us, this is our project. So we get to learn to stand for what we think is practical, what we think is appropriate for the project. So I kind of like get all the positive things from these experts and kind of like put it all together and then just implement on the ground. And then, good thing that it worked. But yeah, I'm very thankful to these experts, because like if not with them, this program will not happen. Especially, Mr. Arnie Jensen, he is an ornithologist. I really awe a lot from him. Like before, like what I said, I couldn't even name one bird. I don't even know one bird. But yeah, I mean, thanks to this guy, very passionate about his birds. He is Danish, but worked in the Philippines for more than 40 years doing this conservation works and really rallying biodiversity conservation. And yeah, I would say that I got a lot from him, and if not because of him, I would say that there will be no Louie, and I would say that there will also be no biodiversity offset program. So yeah, I also I want to thank him.
Fabulous. As the project evolves, basically, how do you ensure that there's continuity in the work you're doing, sort of to bring it to the future in that sense?
Our approach is really adaptive management. So we have committed to monitoring. So from time to time, on a daily basis of our operation, we somehow check our strategies and evaluate and assess using the data that we get from monitoring. We try to assess, and if there's a need to change our approaches or strategies to minimize the environmental impacts, the social impacts, then we do it. So that's how we do. We studied a lot, we monitor, and based from those data, then yeah, if there's a need to change plan, we change plan. So it's really driven by robust science-based framework. I would say it's based from facts. So we invested a lot in so many studies. We even tag birds. So we installed satellite because we want to understand how they use the area. We want to understand how they fly from Philippines to wherever they go in the flyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's not also a small investment. But yeah, we're getting now good results, and yeah, we want to share it also to the public, especially to the science community, understanding, providing informations and data. Especially, there's a really wide array of scientific gaps, especially in doing conservation works for these migratory shorebirds. So now we have that data. So we will be sharing that. We are committed also to sharing that information. So we have done stakeholder engagement, regular stakeholder engagement. Now we're putting up also our SMAI website, where we also publish all the data that we have, where public can also access. And then
nice.
Yeah, like what I said, as a part of our commitment, we want to publish it in the Global Biodiversity Information Facility, where everyone in the world can access this data, because this is valuable data, and we don't want to keep it ourselves. We want to share it to the world. So also, especially to the Philippines, to also improve our our environmental laws, our conservation laws, to support really policies and implement policy based on facts.
So specifically, were there issues you faced from a operational versus long-term sustainability type of perspectives? Anything specific that came up just to sort of deepen the response to your particular on that part question?
The operations people, because we avoided migratory peak season. So the migratory season starts from our monitoring data. So they started to come August, but really peaking. They started peaking from October, especially January and February. That's kind of the peak. So imagine not having works or limited works only for those seasons, because we want to minimize disturbance and impact to this migratory bird. So it didn't really went well with the operations people. And also finance, because limited work would also time and money. So, but really, again, sticking to our commitment, and we're really very true to our commitment of really, we want to be really a model for a green and resilient infrastructure. We want to develop the new Manila International Airport with care for the environment. So yeah, and awareness, relaying this message and information, especially to the management, and letting them understand that this is the right thing that that we need to do, and especially that again we share the same common values. They will understand if you let them understand. and because that's our value, so we do it like naturally.
I love that. Very focused on values, about doing the right thing. So you're actually saying that, at certain times, you're halted or slowed down operational things to make
Yes.
sure you didn't interrupt the normal, migratory patterns and all of that. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. So, what are some of the future goals then of the biodiversity offset program? Because you've obviously started, and I know that this is you've got a horizon of 50 years that you're
Yes,
looking at.
yeah.
So tell me more about what's the future going to be looking like, or what are you looking to do or expecting to do?
So we are looking at 50 years. That's
Yeah.
we want to keep these offset areas that we created. This partnership that we build with the community. We want it to really like endure, until maybe the last of our breath. I would say, it's really like for long term. So now we're working with the national government agencies.
Okay.
For the declaration of these offset areas as protected areas.
Nice.
So just to
Nice.
ensure that it is protected and it will be, future development threats will be avoided for these areas that we created. So we are working on the governance and permanence of this area. And one important component, not only declaring it as protected areas, but again, investing so much to the community, giving them the right tools, the capacity, and really molding them to be environmental managers and wildlife monitors. Because again, the model that we want to take is a community-based managed conservation
Nice,
areas.
nice.
So yeah, we want to really inspire others also to do the same. So we're kind of exploring that now in the project. Now that we have established already this offset areas, so we're really working now on permanence and governance, and that's our hope. Yeah, we could come up with a standard, model that maybe also would inspire others to do the same, and again for the Philippines to have the standard that everyone will follow.
So when you're talking about that governance, you're saying you're trying to get legislation to support
Yes,
and all
yes,
of that.
to protect the area.
Nice,
So
nice.
that's what we're working with.
Have you had any particular approach already from other organizations, either in the Philippines or even from outside, to now ask you questions? What did you do? What did you guys learn? What should we do? And stuff like that. Have you started getting a little bit of that already?
Yeah, so there are marine protected areas in the Philippines because we have really rich in biodiversity
Yeah.
in Philippines.
Right,
so
right.
there are marine protected areas. So short term, our local government, they are required also by law to allocate areas for conservation.
Right.
So they can pass an ordinance so to protect the areas and allocate areas for conservation work. So that's one angle that we're looking at, ordinances, the short term. And then the medium term, we have this, because the areas that we're working at offset, it covers 3 different provinces. So
Oh, okay.
Bataan, Bulacan, and Pampanga. So we wanna have this kind of interlinked, it's also somehow an ordinance, but it's provincial wide, where these 3 different municipalities would work on protecting this area. So that's the medium term, and then the long term, for really national legislation that it should be part in our national integrated protected area system.
Nice.
So that's the long term hope.
As the lead for this project, being heavily involved, what is the most exciting thing for you personally as this program moves on?
I've been with San Miguel for 3 years now, and I think I would describe it as the most transformative
Nice.
part of my life. Like what I said, I am an environmental engineer by profession. I have PhD in environmental engineering, but then I didn't work, or I don't know anything about birds before. So I needed to learn from scratch. I didn't see it as a changing track because I'm really into biofuel production, wastewater treatment. But then I didn't see it as a change of track, but an additional skill set that that I have now because of this project. I would really say that this program, the project, and San Miguel really complete me as a person. before, as environmental manager, I would always like thought that environmental management is just implementing management plans. I didn't realize before that the social component for any environmental management, which we oftentimes, neglected, is very important. Any program and any environmental programs will not sustain without considering the social impacts of the program. So I got to learn stakeholder engagement. So I got to work with people. Now I am a godparents of a lot of kids in the community that we're working with. So yeah, it's really like, touching the hearts of these people, giving back to nature. That's, I think, like the most fulfilling part. More than the learnings that I have with the program, I think it's really connecting to the people and to the nature. I think that really is the most, I would say, fulfilling part of this job.
I can really sense your excitement. All the best to you for the future.
Thank you
a lot.
so much.
Thank you.